Today, you'll learn how to spot red flags on company balance sheets and financial documents. And this skill can save you thousands of dollars and help you avoid investing in stocks that only seem to go down. My name is Colin Teddards, like most of you know, and thousands of you rely on me to help you make buying and selling decisions on the stocks that you buy. And today, you'll see exactly the warning signs that I look for. The first stock we'll look at is Intel, and shares of Intel have declined 31% over the past year. But if you knew where to look a year ago, you would have known to avoid this stock. And some of you might say, well, hindsight is 2020, Colin. It's easy to say this after the fact, but the methods and the techniques that I'm actually going to show you on today's video were put in place. And I did videos about Intel a year ago talking about the exact same red flags that I will show you today. So you could have avoided investing in Intel a year ago and seeing your investment decline over 31%. Now, the biggest red flag among many on Intel's financial sheet was on their profit and loss statement, otherwise known as a statement of income in the financial world. And at the top of this document is always a revenue number and a cost of sales, or sometimes referred to as a cost of goods sold. Taking your net revenue and minusing off the cost of goods sold gives you a gross margin, or sometimes also referred to as a gross profit. In the case of Intel, it was about $4.55 billion of gross profit. And here is red flag number one. When your gross profit does not dramatically exceed your other operating expenses, because remember, gross profit is just one aspect. You still have research and development, sales, marketing, and general administrative expenses, those otherwise known as operating expenses. So when your gross profit does not far exceed your operating expenses, big red flags are coming. And as you see in the case of Intel, even their research and development cost of about $4.2 billion was just under their gross profit. So when you subtracted things like marketing and sales, it led to massive operating loss over the company. And so when you see this, you know that the company has to either one, increase sales, or number two, increase prices. And that can be very difficult in a competitive market. So unless you believe the company can increase sales and or increase prices in the coming quarters ahead, I would avoid companies where their gross profit barely exceeds, or in often case doesn't exceed, the other operating expenses. The next company we'll look at is Enphase Energy. It's seen its shares decline by 68% over the past year. And this company actually does something that we see a lot in the stock market. A year prior to this results, and again, the financial documents that I am showing you are a year prior to this decline. So it's showing you that if you analyze the financial documents a year prior, you would have seen that potentially a 68% decline is coming. And in the case of Enphase, they had dramatic sales declines year over year last year, $726 million in 2023, and it declined to $263 million in the March quarter of last year. What is typical when you see companies do this is they are not able to lower their operating expenses as fast as the revenue declines. And that is exactly what you'll see with Enphase Energy. As you had massive revenue declines, massive gross profit declines from $326 million all the way down to $115 million. When you have that dramatic of a drop in sales and gross profit, you have to cut other expenses in the company, but it's very difficult for these public companies to do that. You see, research and development over the past year barely went down. Sales and marketing didn't go down nearly enough, from $64 million down to $53 million. Your sales were cut more than in half. Your sales and marketing budget should have been cut in half as well. And then look at this, your general administrative expenses. This is all your back office staff, your office space and all that. You can't cut that fast enough at these large public companies. $36 million barely budged. That led to massive losses at the company. They were wildly profitable a year prior in 2023 at $167 million. That swung to a negative $30 million loss. This preceded a massive 68% decline in the shares over the coming 365 days. And so one thing that you want to monitor is if you're investing or thinking about investing in a company that has had massive sales decline, you want them to also be massively and very quickly cutting their operating expenses. If they're not communicating that and it's not showing up in the financial documents, I would wait until they get that out of the way, because it means massive and more losses are coming. The next stock that we'll look at had a similar fate as Enphase Energy, and this is Moderna, ticker symbol mRNA. Most people know this through the COVID vaccine program that the company had a few years back. Over the past year, shares of Moderna have gotten trashed, down 82%. And you're going to see a similar story here. Year over year on the revenues, they went from $1.8 billion down to $167 million. And again, these financials come a year ago, so a year prior to the 82% decline. Remember, these shares were $154 per share when these financial documents were put out. So if you could recognize these red flags, you could have sold Moderna shares at $154 rather than be holding them today at $28. What we see at Moderna is the fact that they had massive revenue in the year prior at about $1.8 billion. That declined to a very minimal $167 million. When you have just $167 million in sales, you have to be convincing shareholders that sales are coming, and they're coming very quickly, because what this company didn't do very well is control their operating expenses. You would expect cost of sales to be down dramatically when your sales are down dramatically, but the rest of the expenses did not scale down nearly enough. Look at your R&D expenses. In fact, basically the same year over year, and your selling general administrative expenses from $300 million down just fractionally to $274 million. The company wasn't profitable on $1.8 billion in revenue, so you know that they didn't cut expenses fast enough on $167 million in revenue. That gave them massive losses from operations at $1.3 billion. When you have dramatic sales declines, you need to see the company follow it up with dramatic operating expense declines as well, or some kind of projection out just a couple of quarters in the future where sales are going to come in. If you don't do that, you tend to see dramatic share declines. Now, the final stock that we'll look at is a very interesting story, and that is over at Pepsi, ticker symbol PEP. Over the past year, shares have declined 25%. Now, we have looked at the profit and loss statement, or the statement of operations. Now with Pepsi, we're going to look at operating cash flow. This cash flow statement does confuse a lot of investors, but I'm going to show you really the only things that you really need to focus on in most scenarios. Now, a year ago with Pepsi, on their cash flow statement, the key metric that I always look at is what's called net cash used in operating activities. This basically is a number showing you the amount of cash generated running Pepsi's business. It differs from things like net income and operating income on the profit and loss statement because it factors in things like depreciation, which is non-cash, share-based or stock-based compensation, also something that is not cash. These are the physical dollars, the United States dollars, that go in and out of operating the business and don't factor in things that are not cash. It often gives you a very accurate reflection of the company's financial position operating the business. And in the case of Pepsi, a year ago on a quarterly basis, they had negative operating cash flow of $1 billion. That's a problem because they still have to spend money on capital spending to the tune of $614 million. So they were negative operating cash flow running Pepsi's business, selling the snack foods and the sodas. They also had to spend $614 million on buildings, trucks, and other things needed to run Pepsi. They also pay a pretty hefty cash dividend to the tune of $1.8 billion, and they continue to service the debt that the company has. Now, what's also continued with Pepsi is it continued for the whole year. Here's your 24-week. This was the subsequent quarter. Operating cash flow did turn positive to the tune of $1.3 billion, but look at this. Your capital expenditures exceeded your operating cash flow to the tune of $1.7 billion. You continue to pay a massive $3.5 billion of share dividends to investors. And so you see another key aspect of cash flows is towards the bottom. They're going to show you the net decrease. If it's in parentheses, it means decrease or increase in cash and cash equivalents in the most recent period. And you see here, the company burned through $3.34 billion of cash through the first 2 quarters. It continued for Pepsi. Operating cash flow of the company through the first 3 quarters got better last year to the tune of $6.2 billion. Capital expenditures at about $2.9 billion, but they continued to pay a very large cash dividend to shareholders to the tune of $5.4 billion. They continued to issue and repay debt here. Here's your net decrease in cash, $2.4 billion. And then finally, in the final quarter or year ended, this was back in December of this year, the company turned things around from an operating cash flow perspective. $12.5 billion, but they spent a hefty $5.3 billion on capital spending. They paid another $7.2 billion in dividends. They bought back $1 billion in stock, even though the shares continued to decline, and they burned through over $1.2 billion in cash in the most recent year, whereas the year prior, in 2023, they stacked or increased cash by $4.7 billion. So what we saw with Pepsi was over the year, they just burned through the cash in the company. And when you're looking at a stock like Pepsi, where you're investing for this dividend yield, you're not investing for growth because the company is growing at just a single-digit rate. They have to grow the dividend. And when you have negative cash flow and negative cash, it makes some investors worry about the safety of that dividend in a couple of years. That is why some investors go to the sidelines when the cash is starting to drain from the company. Folks, I hope you enjoyed today's video of the red flags that you can spot before stocks make a downturn. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments and in the description. There are links to my paid research if you want me to help you find stocks that don't do what these 4 did. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. We'll see you again soon, and good luck with your investments.